Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Let's Get You Painted. This one's going to be going on a little bit late today. Sorry about that. Life has gotten in the way of stuff. I've been pretty busy with making sure that, family stuff gets taken care of and my personal health and everything. So, things got a little shuffled the past couple of weeks. So I'm actually doing this episode morning of Thursday, and then it's going to be going out probably around noon on Thursday instead of around 8 a.m. on Thursday. So sorry to those of you guys who turn in every 8 a.m. on Thursday. I really do appreciate it, but again, it's not going out exactly on time. And I'm sorry about that. But I wanted to make sure that I do, get something out to you guys because I really do appreciate those of you who show up every week. And I thought that I might take this week and discuss a little bit of, who I am. So I've had everybody else on the episodes and different people and discuss who they are, why they paint, and things like that. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about me. So obviously I'm Alec. You guys have, been around with me for 12 episodes now. Actually, a little bit more because we have some of those bonus episodes that have been in here. And you've seen me on the Atlanteans or other stuff. And then you've also seen me on the Racked and Confused Twitch channel. Maybe, different ways. Maybe you've seen me on Facebook and that's what brought you to me. But let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I've been playing War Machine now for almost 2 decades, or more than, I guess. My uh, really good friend Tony, who I call a brother, got me into it. He is one of my best friends in the world, and he was playing Kador, and he's like, I want you to play with me. So he bought me the Menoth starter box with Krios 1, which it's a long time ago, and gave it to me. And then that got me into Menoth, and yeah, I guess that's how it goes. That old Krios one with the old metal one with the old like stocky metal judicator or not judicator crusader and yeah. So as I just talk a little bit about myself today and stuff like that, I am going to be painting. I forgot what this guy's called. Bix, I think. Does it say? I can't remember. But he is the shark that was from the IKRPG Kickstarter, I believe. So I'm gonna finish painting him a little bit. I actually am planning on trying to use him against my players if I get the chance. And then also, obviously, I want to try to finish up Cynthia Roscoe. So let's see if I can get her in frame. And she's gonna be for Gravediggers. She's one of the few pieces that didn't get broken or lost in the move, which is awesome because so much of my War Machine stuff did get broken and lost in the move from uh, Virginia Beach to New York. Let me jump back a little bit. So let's see, got into War Machine years ago. Before that, I played 40K. I've also on the RPG side, I've done um, D&D. I got into that in the early 90s with second edition. Then I jumped into 3 and then 3.5, and then I crossed over and also played Pathfinder. I did try a little bit of fourth edition, not my thing. Went back to 3.5, also continued in third edition, and then as well as in Pathfinder. I also played third edition Iron Kingdoms. I got into IKRPG Full Metal, which is the 2d6 version, which is my personal favorite. And because I love that system, that was the way that I actually got people playing in War Machine, because it was a great way to get people who were RPG people and teach them the systems and then get them to come out to play War Machine, or sometimes getting War Machine people to then come out and play a RPG, because sometimes that's not always a crossover, but I was able to get those communities to work that way. Um, let's see. So I used to run an IKRPG campaign and do War Machine while I was in Fayetteville. Went from Fayetteville to Germany, started a new community when I was in Germany for American military that was over there. Had a lot of fun there, a lot of amazing people. Continue also doing IKRPG there. Actually got into doing the new Iron Kingdoms Requiem there, which was awesome because I got to test some of it out, got to play with it, had an amazing group of people there I played. Went from Germany back to the US where I was in Virginia Beach. In Virginia Beach, started a new IKRPG group for Requiem. Had a lot of fun with those guys. Uh, I didn't actually have to start a community from scratch, which was awesome because the community had already been started by Jay at Atlantis Games and Comics in Virginia, which was awesome. Super great guy. You know, uh, he's been keeping that community going strong, which is great. A lot of awesome guys there in that community that I've met over the years. Met some really good friends, continuing those friendships. And then my wife got transferred up to um, Fort Drum, and we moved this past year. Um, each time we've moved, sadly, the Army has not been friendly with any of my War Machine stuff from when I was in versus, when I got out and I was the dependent. The Army has not been friendly with any of my stuff via um, you know War Machine or 40K or anything like that. So it is what it is. Hopefully there's only going to be maybe one more move. Sorry about that. Uh, one more move after this, and then I won't have to worry about it anymore. Um, Sorry about the coughing. I'll see about editing all that stuff out. I don't know. Um, Ice King has told me, he's like, just free flow it, just go. People don't mind if you cough a little bit or stuff like that. So we'll see. Maybe I'll leave it in. So yeah, so I'm finally finishing up. Well, not I'm finishing up, but we submitted the claim a few months ago, and it looks like they are going to give me about a fifth of what they broke for the 3D printers and War Machine and stuff like that. And I didn't even file on, or I probably filed about on a tenth of my War Machine stuff because it was just so depressing to go over all of it. But that's whatever. But now with New Menoth coming out, I can use some of that insurance money to put it towards New Menoth and to replacing the Gravediggers that they broke, which is awesome. And replacing some of the paints because they decided to put heavy stuff on top of paints because why not? It is what it is. But let me get into painting as I talk to you guys for a little bit. And yeah. So let's see. So what have I been doing and like why do you follow and chat with me? So um I am probably what you call a forever DM. Now I have the option to playing games, but I sometimes am what you would probably call a disruptive personality when I am a player, which is because I come out with some wild, crazy ideas when I play, which can be a lot of fun and can be silly. But the other problem with that and with being silly and things like that is that it can break what the DM sometimes wants the game to be. So I find that one of the best things I can do nowadays is I can actually DM. And I say nowadays, I mean probably for the past 20, 25 years. Because if I am actually DMing, what I can do is I can talk to my players beforehand, or I can actually read the room while we're playing. I can see what they want out of the game session, and sometimes they don't even know what they want, which is kind of an interesting thing because sometimes they're like, "Oh yeah, we want this type of adventure, we want heavy combat," and then what happens? They end up talking through most of the encounters, which is great because if they can talk through an encounter, if they can play through it in a role playing way, it makes it so much more interesting because so many times you'll have people who are just murder hobos and just run through and just kill everything. And I will always encourage players who can, talk their way through. Like I'll let players be murder hobos, you know, like if that's what they want to do, I will let them do that. But I will also encourage and reward players for, you know, being out of the box and for using their mind and their charisma and all those different things to do different ways. Um, but I also really like just seeing other people have fun with it. That is a lot of fun for me. It's probably one of the reasons why I've been DMing so long. And yeah, man, I some of the ideas I come up with, and it's fun seeing the excitement on players' faces when there's like a big payoff. It's like with the thing for Nova. I can't spoil anything. I can't tell you guys, but man, the excitement. So I've written one full campaign, but I don't actually know what the narrative is. That'll take me about 3 weeks of, heavy writing and stuff to write a full campaign. So once I find out what their narrative is, I'll be able to adjust the campaign I've written to work better with it. Or maybe they'll adjust their narrative. Who knows? Um, or if they don't like it at all, what I can do is I can come up with a completely new campaign because I'm pretty flexible like that, and I will just make it work. And that's one of the things I've learned with DMing over the years is you really kind of have to be able to just go and work with it. Like work with your players and just adjust on the fly. Because you might spend hours and hours and hours, coming up with all these intricate plans and everything. And then the players sit down and they see it and then they're just like, that's not what I want to do. And you have to be able to adjust on the fly so that they have a good time. Or maybe, three of the four players do want to do that, but the fourth doesn't. Or, 4 out of 5, whatever the ratio is. So I try to make sure that everyone has a good time. And luckily, over the years, I have learned and I have that stockpile of memories and knowledge bases to pull from to give my players a pretty good time. I mean, I can also do the same thing for narrative events for things like War Machine or for 40K. Right now, I'm painting the tentacles on this guy. So he is a Crix hybrid for a thrall and looks like an octopus or some sort of squid. And then obviously the robotics. Not something you really want to run into in the ocean. I was gonna say like in open water, but heck, I don't think you'd want to run into it in the shallows or pretty much anywhere. I'm using Pro Acrylics Dark Jade, which is a really, really good color I find for tentacles for like octopuses and squid. I always think it's a pretty good one. When I painted the Fire Quill for one of our local players, Richard, as well as when I painted his Abyssal King. I used some of the dark jade on it for some of the tentacles because it was just such a good color. And when you start hitting with highlights, because it's a dark color, the highlights really pop. So it's a great like base color for it. And with this gray that I have for his underbelly, it's gonna just make it look that much more. Especially so you have like staples that are gonna be along this line. So when I do those staples in like a silver, it'll really make it pop. So let's see. So what else was I saying? So yeah, so I've been painting and playing for a very long time. For oh, let's see, since like 95. So like 31 years because we're in 2026. So that's been a hot minute. Like you don't think that it's been that long, and then you're like, holy cow, that really has been a long time. And one of the things we were talking about when Jason and Dan and I were doing the show the other day, we were talking about like some of the tactics and the things we learned about like what would be, called what was it called? I just want to call it like step one, but it's they call it slap shopping now, where you know black, white, gray, or black, gray, white, and you do like the different dry brushing layers, and then you thin out your paints and you do your highlights, and you can go from there. And yeah, that's just an easier way for painting. But I think about like painting back in the day, and man, my first models, they were not good. They were not good at all. I did not use a wet palette. I did not thin out my paints. I just globbed it on. I did not highlight. Man, I don't think I have any of those old ones. If I did, you guys would be like, "Holy cow, that is rough. He has come a long way." Because I definitely have. But that's where I try to tell people like don't be discouraged. Everyone started somewhere, and just paint and you will get better. It might take time, but just by getting out there and painting every single day, or heck, every single week, you will eventually get better because you will remember things that work and things that didn't work, and you will eventually apply those. Like you'll be sitting down one day and be like, "Oh, wait, hold on. I know what to do in this situation." And bam, you'll do it. And it's how it goes. I mean, I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old and youngers, and seeing them, like teaching them tricks that I know now that they're now learning, and I can only imagine where they're going to be when they're in their 40s if they continue to keep painting and things like that. They'll be that much even beyond where I am, which makes me happy. I'm like, that's going to be awesome. That's going to be so great because they'll be that much better of a painter than me. And it's kind of like how when I teach them, I DM for my kids, and teaching, or like when I play War Machine with my kids, and I try to teach them good sportsmanship and to play better and stuff like that. I can only imagine where they're gonna be when they're in their teenage years or when they are in their 20s versus where I was in my teenage years and my 20s. And I mean, mind you, there's still gonna be those hormones, and that's gonna be a thing. But I'm hoping that they are gonna definitely be a step above. And that's kind of one of those things, I guess. You always want your kids to be doing better than you. and I definitely want my kids to be doing, excuse me, better than me. I have cough drops in because I have this cough, which isn't actually a cough. It's a lung thing, but well, technically it's a lung and throat thing, and the cough drops basically help because they numb the back of my throat, and then they make I take something else to help my lungs not like spasm, and yeah, that helps significantly. It's why, like I said, we didn't have a longer video this week, and I'm gonna have to work a little bit extra on making sure that we get weekly videos out to you guys. Um, I'm gonna make sure that Dan and Jason also you're gonna see their videos more often, which I know you guys are really excited about. And yeah, also I'm planning on now that the insurance is supposed to pay out and stuff like that. I'll be able to get the Gravedigger project, which was the whole reason why I was starting this channel. Was I was going to try to paint an entire Gravedigger army with a clock in 40 hours. And it might be closer to like 40 to 50, but it was like the idea is how quickly could I paint an entire Gravedigger army and get it done. One of the other things I'm doing is I'm going to potentially not be playing my Exemplar Interdiction at Nova. I'm going to be playing Temple Flame Guard with Thyra and Amon, which means I need to actually pull those pieces out of a box because they're all broken and just stuck in a box in storage right now in my basement. Put them together, see what needs to get fixed, and use that because I'm going to 3D print full Temple Flame Guard armor. I've showed you guys on the channel earlier the helmet, and I'm going to hopefully wear full Temple Flame Guard armor. Maybe not the helmet, but the rest of everything else for Nova the entire time. Like that is my goal: is to wear armor and play Temple Flame Guard the entire time. Will it happen? I don't know, but that is my goal. So we will see if that happens. I'm hoping it does. I think it'd be awesome. I think it would be so much fun, and I think people would get a kick out of it. So what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So we're gonna see how much actually my Temple Flame Guard made it, because I really do want to, even though it's like not gonna do well, I might actually rotate from Iron Gauntlet to the Steamroller, but who knows? Maybe I will play the Temple Flame Guard in IG and just get curb stomped and mollywopped. I don't know. Maybe people won't be expecting it. I feel like maybe I should play or I don't know. Like Temple Flame Guard aren't in a great place, so we'll see. Actually, I saw there was a guy asking for advice on the page, the War Machine Unlimited page the other day, and I really wanted to, and I'm probably gonna have to share some suggestions and stuff like that with him on what he should do and things like that. Right now, I'm applying some fluorescent green that's slightly watered down into the recesses of. Right now, I'm applying some fluorescent green from Pro Acryl into the recesses of this to kind of give it that necro feel. might be too bright, so I might hit a dark green wash on top of it to lighten it a little bit. But I guess we'll see what it looks like when it dries. So the cricks are powered not by coal, but by necrotite, which is basically like if someone dies and they die in a horrible way and their spirit is unhappy, it basically becomes like a coal in the ground, and it's called necrotite. Put a little too much in there. I don't want it to necessarily pool. So I put some in, and then I use my brush, almost like a wash, to get the excess out. I think it shows up pretty well on camera. It might not. But what I'm doing is in some of these areas where it's like leaching through, where like the body has been ripped apart, and you should be able to see the mechanica underneath. That's where I'm applying this fluorescent green to remind you that it's being powered by the undead. I think it's looking pretty good. I don't think Steamforge has come out with inks or washes yet. I'm pretty sure they're going to, and I can't wait because when they come out like with a necrotite green, I don't know if they'll call it necrotite green, they might call it something else. But I'm sure that'll be a good color. Like very exciting. Making sure that you can actually see. So I know I went and pulled some of it out and I'm reapplying it. It's because I want it to be slightly darker, but I don't want it to be pooled in these thick pools so it just looks like I applied it poorly. So what I did is I applied it, made sure it wasn't too thick, pulled some out, let it dry, painted the other side, came back, and reapplied. I'm going to go remove some of the excess on this side as well. I think that looks pretty good. So the smoke, I'm actually going to use the same fluorescent green up top because, again, used, it's not using coal. It's using this magic evil stuff. So I've already painted a lot of this. So I've actually done the black and the gray on it. So now what I can do is I can just apply this green wash that I've basically made over the top to just make the smoke look greenish. And this is really easy to do if you need to for a Crix or a Cephalix army or stuff like that. Um, if you're playing, what is it, Necrons for 40k, this is also another easy technique to do for them. You can use a similar technique for, what do you call it, convergence of Cirrus, but you just don't necessarily use the neon green. But the idea is just applying it and then moving it around, give the clouds that greenish glow. Well, I think I've given you guys a little bit of knowledge on who I am. I guess I'll tell you a little bit about why I paint. I prefer models painted. I know not everybody has the time, which is one of the reasons why I started this channel. Like, some people want beautifully painted armies, and I get it, man. But not everybody has time for beautifully painted armies. Like, they have wives, kids, work, dogs. Sometimes it's just people realize they do not have the talent and they don't want to put their time into it. And that's okay. Like, you have to know, what's the phrase? When to hold them and when to fold them. Know what brings you joy. And if, you getting a fully painted army and painting it beautifully and perfect is going to drive you out of the gaming system, then don't. Paint it to the best quality you can. That doesn't mean, paint it worse than you can. Do your best. Don't try to, be a shitbag. Like, paint it well. Be honest. It comes down to that personal integrity thing. And I can't tell you, and no one else can tell you either. That is a 100% you know it thing. And yeah, and with it, so yeah, I just want people to be painted. I think it's better than bare plastic. I think it's a step up from bare plastic is when they're primed. A step up from that is when they're primed and dry brushed, or zenithal. Zenithal again is when you have a model like this, and so we'll start here, and then you prime it black, and then from top you hit like a white or a gray. So you can hit like a gray and then a white on top, and lightly. So you would start here and just go, and it hits the highlights. You get the natural highlights, or you can dry brush it. So you would start here, and you just bring the brush like this. For example, on the big palette. So you would start here and just drag, and that gets the natural highlights. You can do it with any color really. It's like for some of these, if the majority of your army is going to be painted green, prime it green, and then from green go to whatever other color you want to do. And yeah, and yeah, that's the easiest thing. So that's why I paint. I paint because I like seeing painted armies, and the best way I can get other people to paint their armies is to have mine painted. the what's it? Before you remove the splinter from your neighbor's eye, remove the log from yours. So the best thing I can do if I want other people to be painted is paint mine and demonstrate to people that it's not that hard to paint. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but this will look pretty good from 4 feet away on the table. You can tell very distinctly that there's multiple colors on it, that, it's going to look good, and that's the most important. So, thank you everyone for joining me for this little short episode of Let's Get You Painted. Again, I'm Alec, and I will see you all later. Bye.